Thank you for joining us today and welcome to First Church of God Preschool. I'm Marcia Bowman, the Preschool Director. If you're watching this presentation, that means you've already registered your child for preschool for next fall and should have received your orange folder. If you haven't received your orange folder or haven't registered your child, please notify our office and we'll make sure to get you signed up right away. Today, we're going to take you through some of the ins and outs of preschool and hopefully answer some questions that you may have. If at any time you've got other questions that we can't answer, go ahead and give me a call or shoot me an email, and I'd be happy to respond to you. First Church has been serving children in their community for over 50 years now. And we have all of our educational practices are built on the philosophy that young children learn best when involved in a variety of experiences which allow them to explore the world around them. We do have a mission and a purpose for our preschool. Our mission and purpose is to establish a climate of acceptance, love, trust, and discipline with programs and enrichment where young children can experience growth. We also have a comprehensive curriculum. Our curriculum is built on the 4 building blocks of child development that includes social and emotional learning, self-care, and physical learning. So we would be looking at fine motor skills, gross motor skills, as well as how to wash our hands and how to use the bathroom appropriately during snack, how to use good manners and pick up after ourselves and some of those things. We also work on a lot of language development. So we're going to work on communicating with each other, how to express our needs and our wants in a positive manner, how to interact with our friends. And then we also hit the early academics in a very developmentally appropriate manner. Our curriculum also is primarily given to our children through art and play and social interactions. We believe that that's developmentally appropriate for this age of a child. Teachers will be taking anecdotal notes on your child's progress. We also send home progress reports in November to let you know how they're doing. And then there will be another one in the spring. And in our spring conference, our springtime, we'll also have parent-teacher conferences where you're going to be able to sit down with your teacher and talk about the wonderful things that your child's learning and doing and all their growth. This is a time that I want to make sure that we caution you because the developmental span for 3-year-olds through 5-year-olds is very broad. And with that, that means that you may have a child that's developing here at this level and another one that's here, but that's still all within that very wide developmental span. So please resist the urge to compare your child's growth and development with a sibling or even the next door neighbor. And because we know that all children can learn and they do grow, and just at different times and different rates and different speeds. And that's part of our job, is to figure out how your child learns and grows and meet them where they're at and take them forward. So if at any time you're worried about your child's growth and development, please, I would encourage you to talk to your teachers or come see me, and we can reassure you that your child is going to learn and grow, and provide some tips and strategies to help you along the way. So just a little bit of comfort there for you to know that your child will be just fine. Now we're going to get into some of the need-to-knows about our preschool. Our preschool is located on the main floor of First Church, and it's in that back hallway. It's nice that we're secluded to one hallway, so we're able to secure our children in daily, so that we have a lot of safety and security measures in place, because we know that one of the most important things to our parents is that we are able to teach your children in a safe learning environment. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. When we come to school in the morning, our doors are locked. We will unlock the doors on either end about 5 minutes prior to your child arriving. We need parents to bring or the guardian or whoever it is that's dropping off your child to come in with your child, and then we will line them up by the doors. If you are a 4-year-old parent or a pre-kindergarten parent, we ask that you enter through the main doors of the church and make your way through that first foyer into our hallway area. If you are a 3s parent or a pre-K parent as well. You also could use the green awning entrance. And obviously, if you are bringing little ones where you've got a stroller or something like that, always please use whatever entrance is best for you. Probably the green awning has a ramp, so it's much easier to access. Then after all of our children are in, we're accounted for, then we lock those doors. So if any time after school has started, those doors are locked and secured. So if you need to come to see us, then we ask that you use the main church entrance, and you can talk to Lisa, who is the church receptionist, and she can get a hold of me and we can let you in. Or give me a phone call or shoot an email to the teachers or myself, and if you know ahead of time that you're coming. Now, that's great because that all works Monday through Thursday, but on Friday, the church is closed. So on Friday, we ask that everybody use that green awning entrance. And so it gets a little crowded in there, but after 50 years, we found that we still can make it work. So, and if you have any questions about that, we will have a parent night that I'll tell you about later, and especially for our new parents. And during that time, then we'll take a short tour so you can see what we're talking about. Or if you're uncomfortable, and just pop in anytime, and I'm happy to show you around. So a couple other things. So every child's going to get a book bag at First Church. And I've got a little prop here. They'll look like this. We have a different color for every classroom. This is a pre-kindergarten classroom. And I know a lot of times when children know that they're going to school for the very first time, they want to get a backpack. So some of you may have already purchased backpacks for your children, and that's great. That's super exciting. Unfortunately, we can't accommodate that at school. So we would ask, we certainly don't want you to take that joy away from them. So let's be creative, think about a different way that we can use the backpack. Maybe it's going to be the backpack that they carry when you go to the library or to the park, or maybe it's the to and from backpack for Grandpa and Grandma's house. So if you can think of a way to repurpose that would be really helpful. I want to talk to you also a little bit about safety. Our hallway is very narrow and the floor is a little bit slippery. And we know that ramp and the green awning is a lot of fun to run up and down. So we would ask that you help keep your children safe by reinforcing our rules about running. We also have pegs, hooks in the hallway that are just about perfect eye level for little ones too. So please help us by reinforcing our rules about no running. We certainly don't want anyone to be hurt or injured on their way to or from school. Each day, our children will have a snack time right before school gets let out for the day, and your teachers will give you a calendar for that, and you'll be assigned a snack time day to bring in snacks for the whole classroom. It is a very short amount of time, and we don't prepare much, so we ask that any snack that you send in is prepackaged, or if not, some kind of a healthy choice. Bananas are a good choice. Lots of parents will send in finger foods, cheese sticks, things like that. That's super. If you would just help us, sometimes when you buy in bulk, if you go to Sam's Club or something, you buy Teddy Grahams, and they might only have 5 cinnamon ones, 5 bags of chocolate, and 5 bags of regular. That makes it really tough on our little ones because they developmentally, socially, haven't figured out that it's going to be okay if this one person next to them has cinnamon and they have vanilla. And then that causes for some hard feelings. And so you can help us out by limiting those snack choices. And so we would appreciate it if you're going to send in little packets of Teddy Graham that they're all chocolate or they're all cinnamon. That helps us out a lot. And then also every day we provide water for our children. Water is a very healthy nutrient, and they can drink as much water as they want, and we serve them the water during the day. So please don't send in any juice boxes, and even on birthday treats, we just prefer to have water. And yeah. Also, talking about birthday, lots of times we like to have cupcakes for birthday treats, and that's fine. We ask that you only send in cupcakes only if it's a special treat. But we know that cupcakes, oftentimes for our little ones, are very large, and sometimes larger than our little tummies are. And then oftentimes the cupcakes come with about 2 inches of really bright blue frosting. And that makes it super hard. I do have to tell you, when we get cupcakes that come in with 2 inches of frosting on it, oftentimes they're brought to my office and I take a knife and I just take all that frosting right off and it goes into the trash. And because then we end up with children that have blue fingers and blue mouths, and then our tables are stained blue, and then we get to send them home with you with all kinds of sugar inside of them. So we just really appreciate it. If you do send in cupcakes, please send in those little ones and that don't have a ton of frosting on them. And we really appreciate that. Also, occasionally, talking about snacks, we do have some children that have food allergies. And if you are in a classroom with a significant health-related food allergy, you'll be getting a letter from my office that will give you guidelines on that. Which leads into parents, if you have a child that has a food allergy or some kind of health or medical concern that we need to be aware of, please contact me personally, because we're going to need to sit down before school starts and develop a medical plan for your child. We want to make sure that you feel that that your child is safe and well taken care of in our care. We also need to feel confident that we understand what your child's specific needs are and are able to take care of them as well. So please make sure that you let me know, and we can set up a time to do that. Another thing that I'm going to ask you to do is, we have many families that are changing, and we know that families come in all different kinds of shapes and sizes, and that's great. But if you do have a situation in your family where you have some custodial concerns, or you have some paperwork that we need to be aware of as far as who can or cannot have your child or be able to pick up your child, please make sure that you meet with me. And we need to make sure that we take that very seriously and that we have all of the proper documentation on hand in our office so that we can make sure that your child's safe in our care. If your child is sick or absent for any reason, we do keep track of that. That's part of one of our licensing laws, and we have to submit health forms to the Berrien County Health Department every Friday. Just want you to know we don't submit any names. We just simply have to submit a number, things that we have to tell the Berrien Health Department, how many fevers we had, if we had any flu, what kind of flu, was it stomach flu, was it respiratory? Those are the things that the health department tracks. And so it's really helpful for us that if your child is sick, that you let us know why they're out. If they're out of town, then we need to know that. If they're sick with a fever, then we need to know that as well. Otherwise, when they're not here, then we worry about them. So that's really helpful for us. The best way to do that is to either call and leave a message on our voicemail in their office, or send me an email as well. Some of our parents email teachers, which is fine, but teachers are teaching, so they may not get that email until after class is over. So if you want to email them, please email me as well at the preschool. As far as fever goes, we ask that your child is fever-free for 24 hours. So please do not give them children's Tylenol and then take their temperature and send them to school. So they need to be fever-free for 24 hours without any medication. And also, if your child has any vomiting or diarrhea, we also ask that you keep them home, even if they're feeling better, for 24 hours after the last episode of either one. That would really help us keep our school healthy. Also, on safety, is we do practice emergency drills. We are required, again, by the state to do that. And so we do 3 fire drills a year, and we'll let you know ahead of time when those are coming, so you can talk with your child about how our firefighters help keep us safe and what we do to stay safe in that. And then we also have 2 storm drills or tornado drills, and we go through those with the children ahead of time and make sure that they know that we're just practicing it's to keep us safe. Another note on safety is that there are lockdown drills that schools do. At this age and level, we do not do a lockdown drill with our children, as we feel that that would be pretty scary for them. But we do go through that with our teachers twice a year. We do it in September, and then we also do it again in January, so that we all know the procedures for keeping your children safe. If you have any questions about that, feel free to talk to me about it or your teachers. But your child's safety is our number one priority. Tuition. Tuition is due the first of each month. We're pretty old school in our tuition, so we ask that you send in a check or money order. If you do send in cash, we want it to be exact. We don't carry extra change. If you overpay and we're not able to give you change on that, we'll just take that overpayment and pay it forward to the next month after that. After the 15th of the month, then we consider that late, and we'll have to charge a late fee after that. If you're writing a check, please make sure that you put your child's name, first and last name, in the memo. As again, we have lots of changing families, so sometimes the name on the check does not match the child's last name, and that's difficult for we may know you, but our bookkeeper doesn't. So, and she needs to make sure that we get the right payment with the right child. So that would be helpful. We do live in Michigan, and it gets cold and snowy, although it hasn't been that cold and snowy this winter yet. But there are occasions that we will close school for snow days. Again, we just want our kids to stay home safe. And typically the rule of thumb is if either Lakeshore Public Schools or St. Joseph Public Schools close, we will close. If both of them close, we close. If Lakeshore closes and St. Joe's still open, we still close, and vice versa. We have most of our families and staff are either in Lakeshore or St. Joe, and we just want to make sure that everybody's home safe. But we'll also it will be advertised in the school closings, on the TV stations as well as the radio stations. And then we also have an automated phone calling system with our school that you'll also get that as well. So lots of ways to know that your child is going to have a snow day. You'll see it all over Facebook. Next, we're almost done. We're going to talk about communications. Communications is super important to us, and I just want you to know that my door is always open, and if you ever want to chat with me, just pop in, and I'm here most days and almost all day, most days. And if you can't get a hold of me, shoot me an email or leave me a message, and I'd be happy to set up a time to meet with you. Our teachers will send home a monthly newsletter that should have everything that's happening in that. And they like to communicate by email as well. So they're going to ask you for the email address as well as I am. So when you fill that out on your forms, could you please make sure that you print really neatly and that I can easily distinguish between letters and numbers in your email so that we can make sure that we get all that data into our database correctly. We also have a church website, which you're probably on right now if you're watching this. That website is fairly stagnant through the year as I don't maintain it. So the things that are on that website are this video, all of the enrollment forms will be on there, the handbook, some parent resources, but it would not be the place for you to go to if you're trying to figure out what's happening next week. And because we don't maintain it in that way. So the best way to do that is to read your teacher newsletter. And also we do have a Facebook page that's on this PowerPoint that's accompanying this. And you can download that. But the Facebook is where we update our weekly happenings, and we put pictures of the kids and what they're doing and things like that. So if you want more up-to-date things, then go to our Facebook page. If you have a question or something, just contact me or your teacher. Also phone numbers. If you've got your phone handy right now, it'd be a good time to take it out and put in our preschool phone number. Lots of times I've had to call parents, child's gotten sick or has had an injury, and I call and the parents don't pick up because you don't recognize the number on your caller ID. And in an emergency situation, it would be really important for us that you know that it's the preschool calling. We're not just going to call you randomly. So if you could please just take a moment to take out your phone and put in our phone number and then identify it as First Church Preschool. That way when I call you, it should come up on the caller ID and we're not wasting time trying to get a hold of you. Our phone number is 269-983-1816. 269-983-1816. Okay, next. Oh, this is a biggie. So now we're going to talk a little bit about separation anxiety. And especially for our threes or students that it's going to be their first time coming to preschool, no matter what age. And separation anxiety isn't just about the kids, it's about the adults that love them. And because we have found that sometimes the children are just fine and it's the parents that are struggling. And whether you're struggling because you have this feeling that my child's growing up and they're losing their childhood, or maybe it's fear on your part, are they going to be okay? And that's okay. So I'm going to talk you through just some tips in our experiences that might be able to help you. And there's also a separation anxiety resource that's going to be posted on our website too. So first of all, just need to remind you that your children take all their cues from you. And so if you are showing anxiety or fear or sadness, then even if they aren't feeling it and they see it on you, they're thinking, wow, Mom's really sad. I wasn't sad, but maybe I should be sad too. Or, wow, Mom's really anxious, and now I'm kind of feeling a little bit nervous and anxious. And I know those are natural feelings for you, but I'm going to ask you to fake it for them. And we want them to know that they are going to be okay, and that you know that they're going to have a great day, and that you can't wait to hear about it when they get home. And then kind of do that kiss and fly from the airport. Just let them know you love them, and they're going to be great, and it's going to be a great time. You can't wait to hear about it when you pick them up. That's really important because you're giving them a lot of messages. You're letting them know, number one, that they are going to be okay. They can handle this. Number two, they're going to have a great day and you want to hear about it. Number three, when you pick them up, because that's their biggest fear is, are they going to come back and pick me up? And we always tell them they're going to pick you up. They need that reassurance from you. One thing I'm going to ask that you not do is please don't tell them how much you're going to miss them. I know you're going to miss them, but please don't tell them that, because it's really difficult for children. Even our 3-year-olds can be very empathetic. And the moment you say, I love you and I'm going to miss you so much, if they weren't thinking about missing you before, they are now. Or maybe during the day, they're playing and having a good time, and all of a sudden they're going to remember, oh, wow, I'm having so much fun, but poor Mom is home missing me, and she feels so bad, and gosh, I kind of miss her too, and oh, I don't want to feel guilty for making Mom feel bad. And oftentimes our little ones can surprise us on how much emotion that they can take and put on their little shoulders, and they don't need to feel responsible for your feelings of missing them. I know you're going to miss them. In fact, after we drop them off, I'll be right there and I can give you a hug and tell you it's going to be okay. And then our teachers are going to be in the classroom and they will hug on your kids and love on them. I'll hug on you and love on you. And typically the kiddos turn it around within 5 to 10 minutes. Especially at the beginning, if they're struggling, our teachers and myself are really good at taking a picture or a video and sending it to you, or giving you a phone call and letting you know that your child's doing good. Feel free to give us a buzz and say, hey, how's Johnny doing? I know he was a little bit nervous, and we can reassure you that way. One thing, if they are having a hard time establishing a ritual about how you're going to say goodbye is helpful. It's super cute. I've got one of my 3-year-old dads this year that they have the cutest ritual. when he drops off his son. They do this little shimmy shake, and then they do a fist bump, and then they do a head bump, and then they do a belly bump, and then they kiss and say goodbye. And it's cute. They're still doing it now. Child has no problem separating, but that's just a really neat ritual and bond that they've had, and they carry it through. And so if you can think of something, consistency is important. So keep it consistent. Talk to them about it before it happens. Say, hey, listen, we're going to go to preschool. This is what we're going to do. Maybe it's a high five and a kiss and a goodbye. Maybe you're going to blow a kiss and catch it. I had one parent that gave their child a penny, which was pretty cool, and put it in the bottom of his shoe. And when he was missing his mom and dad, and I was talking to him about it, he said to me, well, I have my penny. I'm like, well, tell me about your penny. And so he was able to say, well, that's my penny, my memory penny that Daddy gave me to put in my shoe. So when I'm walking, I can feel that penny, and I know that that's Mommy and Daddy. And so just the simplest things. Think of what works for you. I know my granddaughter, when she went off to kindergarten, loved chapstick, so we did the chapstick and a kiss every day. And then we made it a point to buy lots of Princess chapsticks so that we would decide, is it going to be Belle this week that we're going to use, or Rapunzel, or whoever? And it's something that they can hold on to, tangible, that they can make them feel safe and secure with. So last thing on that is I would just encourage you to avoid the urge to bribe. And bribing sometimes works, but it will really backfire on you the moment that you can't follow through on that. So we just encourage you not to do that. We want them to know intrinsically that they're going to be fine and they can handle this, and go from there. So also in your orange folder, you found our parent handbook. So that handbook outlines all of our policies and procedures in it. So there's going to be a lot of different things maybe that I haven't covered today. And feel free to look through that handbook or refer to it frequently. And if there's something that you need clarification on, give me a buzz or give me a phone call and I can help you with that. Okay, we are moving on. We're going to go to talk about our orange folders. So stick with me. We'll get there. Good news with this, you can always pause it and come back later. So, but I'm going to take you through the orange folder. Hopefully fairly quickly. It'll look like this. Won't have that on the top. This is mine. But this is your orange folder that you received when you registered your child for preschool. There's two sides to it. On your left-hand side is everything that you're going to need to keep at home. These are for you. And what you're going to find in it is an invitation to our preschool play date that I'll talk to you about in a little bit. You're also going to find a welcome sheet that has a checklist on it. I think that's going to be really helpful. And these can all be downloaded as well on our website. But the checklist is all that paperwork that's on this side that you need to turn back in. So as you complete them, you can check them off, keep them in the folder. You can turn this into me anytime. So especially our returning parents that are already here. As soon as you get this in, turn it into me, and then you're done. You've got smooth sailing for the summer. No worries. And then there's also a couple of dates, so we'll go over that. And then on this side is our school calendar is out and ready to go, and our handbook, and then also just a brief sheet about the 40 assets that preschoolers need to have in order to be successful. This side, your right-hand side, has all the paperwork. We are fully licensed by the state of Michigan, so along with that licensing comes paperwork. So we're going to walk you through it. It's not too hard. But I also want you to understand what you're signing when you sign it. So we're going to do that quickly. Inside of your folder, you are going to find a tuition envelope. This is the envelope for just the first month's tuition. What we're going to ask you to do is put your child's first and last name. Please print your first and last name, as sometimes they don't match. And then the amount you have in there. And then down below, it's written what the tuition amounts are. If you have a question about that, especially with siblings, because there's a 10%, just give me a buzz. I'll help you with it. If you turn this in early, you certainly can post-date that check. These these won't get deposited until the first week of school in September. So if you're not comfortable with doing the tuition, you want to get everything else turned in and give me the tuition later rate at back to school, that's fine too. It's not a big deal. So, you're going to find that in there. The other thing you're going to find is a pink sheet like this. It's called One Call Now. This is our automated calling system. If you have children in the public schools, you're familiar with that. They use different ones. This is the system that I'll use if for any reason we're closing school, whether it's a snow day, or maybe we're closing school because we lost all of our electricity or we had a water main break, whatever the reason. We will only use this in that kind of emergency. I will not use this to say, hey, don't forget tomorrow's pink day. We won't do that. And this is just from, I'm the only one that maintains this database. So it will leave phone messages, it will send text messages as well as emails. So make sure you fill that out and turn that back in. Our next thing that we have is just the regular tuition folder. Tuition is paid in our office. There's a big wooden box, and these folders are on the side. So when you come in to pay your tuition, your envelope will look like this. The next piece is our parent volunteer form. The state of Michigan requires that we have a volunteer policy, and our policy is that we don't have volunteers. So, however, we do that because all of our staff members, I know that all of the members in my staff, we've all been FBI fingerprinted, and the FBI has run a criminal background check on us. So I know that we are safe to be with your children. And not to offend anybody, but I don't know that about all of you. And so we just do not have volunteers in our school. But on occasion, you will be invited in. Maybe you'll be invited in to be a guest reader. You might be invited in to the Mother's Day tea or whatever it is. So whenever you're in our school, when other children are in attendance, you are considered a volunteer. So our policy states that if you are ever in our school, that you may never be alone with any child except for your own. And if you are, then we will dismiss your child from our enrollment. So we need that filled out and signed and returned. The next sheet is our financial understanding. This just outlines tuition, just says that tuition is due the 1st of the month. It's late after the 15th of the month, and after that, you'll be charged a late fee, and that you're responsible for that. So then this may be in your folder, and you may or may not need it. This is for our 4s and our pre-kindergarten students. Every year, the Berrien County Health Department will come in and do a hearing and vision screening for our students. We do this because in order for your child to go to kindergarten in a public school, it's state law that they have a hearing and vision screening. So the health department does that. So as a courtesy, they come into the preschools free of charge, and we'll do that screening for you. So you don't have to take them or find another screening or take them to the health department. So it's really a nice service that they provide for you. They will give you a screening. They will give you the results of that, and you just have to hold on to it and turn it in at your kindergarten registration. What I need you to know is that when the Berrien County Health Department personnel, staff are here screening your child, they are not one of my staff members, meaning they've not had that FBI criminal background check through me. So they will do the screening right here on site. You know when they're going to do it. You'll get a note home ahead of time, all of those things. But this just simply states that you understand that those staff members are not my staff members that are doing the screening. The next is the child information card. We're going to do that last because that's the trickiest one. So I'm going to set that aside for just a moment, and we're going to move on. We got some big sheets of paper. This big one is twofold. The top part tells you that we're fully licensed by the state of Michigan and that we maintain what's called a licensing notebook. And that's available in my office. If you ever want to look through it, you certainly can. Just let me know. And but in that has all of our reports, everything that we have that complies with our licensing to maintain our license. It also has all of our reports whenever we've been audited. We get audited every 2 years. I'm really proud. Our last audit was last year, and we got an A+. So we're really proud of that. And then down below just simply states that you've received our handbook, which is in your orange folder. Then we have this sheet. This just talks about field trips because our 4-year-old class and our pre-K classes go on a couple field trips a year. We use the church bus for that, and our church bus has seatbelts in it, and it's all, it gets inspected by the state as well, and all of our drivers have their CDLs, and they've also all been background checked. They're first vetted through the church itself, and then I also have to vet them through my licensing in the State Department. So typically it's one of our pastors that drives the bus, and we would never take our children on a field trip or off-site anytime without letting you know ahead of time and having you sign another permission slip. But if you want to let your children ride the bus, they like to, just check yes. If you prefer them not to, that's okay. Just don't check it. And you can always just bring your child along with you in your car and just follow the bus. We always invite our parents to follow along anyways on our field trip, so that's okay. The second box is our social media. We do have our website as well as our Facebook page, and occasionally we like to take pictures of the kiddos while they're doing different activities and post them on social media. We never ever put a name with that, so you don't need to worry about that. But some of our parents prefer not to have their child's image out there at all. And if you prefer not to have that, again, just leave that blank. That's not a problem. I maintain a list of those children whose faces should it be published. So even if you have no's on both of those, I still need you to fill out the bottom part and turn it back in so I know that it's a no. Our next sheet is our health appraisal, the green health appraisal. This can get tricky too. We have to have this within 30 days of school starting. It's a lot easier for us if we have it right away. So it's a green sheet. All your pediatricians know this because it's a state form. So they have to have this for any school they go to that's licensed. So all you need to do is, you parents need to fill out this top form. The doctors, really all they need to do is verify by signing it and attaching the immunizations that your child has had a checkup. And this can be based off the last well-child checkup you've had. And it can go back as far as 2 years. So, so let's say they had their checkup in March, and then school starts in September. You don't need to go get another doctor's appointment. Just take it in, drop it off. They should be able to fill it out based on the March appointment and attach the immunizations. The immunizations is the most important part because that's what we have to have, and that we get audited on from the State Department actually for that. So just make sure their immunizations are updated, and they can simply attach that to this. If you choose to not have your child immunized, then you need to obtain a waiver. You don't get that waiver from me. You must get it through the Berrien County Health Department. And then, so you're going to need to call that department. They will set up a time with you because you have to attend a class with them in order to obtain that waiver. And I have to have that waiver at the beginning of the school year. I can't have your child attend. The last form is the child information record. Looks like this. It's kind of like a card stock. This is what we would call our emergency card, and it's the trickiest one to fill out. So, because it's a state form, they don't want any blanks in there. So if something doesn't apply, you have to either write the word none or unknown in it, and you can't dash through it. You can't put an NA or leave it blank. There's a few exceptions. That's what makes it tricky. So if you have a question, ask me. It's fine, and I can help you through it. So at the top, you're just going to fill in your child's name and address, birthday. All of that has to be filled in. Down below is where parents and guardians are. Get the name of the parent and guardian. If the address is the same as above, then you don't have to fill any of that out. We do have some families, maybe there's families where there's a single mom or a single dad and you don't have the information for the other parent. That's okay, then leave that blank. If you leave that blank field blank, then the rest of it, anything associated with it can still be blank. So, or you can just put unknown, and then the rest of the associated boxes can be left blank. Down here under, we ask that you put an email address in there, please, even though it's optional, because that helps us. That's where we pull our database from. And the employer number name, you can leave that blank. if you choose. But if you put something there, you have to put a phone numbers because they're associated. So either put none or unknown, and then you don't have to do the associated part. Down here is the name of the physicians, the phone number, preferred hospital. We have Lakeland right around the corner here. And then this bottom one is the one that parents miss most, and that's about allergies or health concerns. That one you have to write none if it's none. And otherwise I'll have to give it back to you. On the back is, the top part is the 3. That's who I contact in emergency. So if there is an emergency and I need to get a hold of you, this needs to go in order. So if I need to call mom first, then put mom's name first. So this includes mom, dad, or mom and grandpa, whoever it is that you want me to call. But if you've got mom and dad, if you want me to call dad first, put dad first. If you want me to call mom first, put mom first. However that goes. There's 3 lines. You don't have to fill up all 3. And then there's places for 2 phone numbers. Please put the phone numbers in the order of importance. If you're more likely to answer your cell phone, then put your cell phone first, because this is where I'm going to go to an emergency to get a hold of you. These people also that are up here also can pick up or drop off your child. So maybe it's mom, dad, and grandma. Then down here where we're going to list people that can pick up your child, you don't have to repeat mom, dad, and grandma because we know they're already here. The second part is just who can pick up your child or drop off. And that might be the nanny, it might be a babysitter, it might be a neighbor, it might be an older sibling that can drive. So we just need their first and last name and a contact number for them. There's 4 spots there. You may have more than 4 people. You may not have 4 people. And that's where you can leave it blank. You don't have to fill anything in because we can add to this at any time. So let's say we get into the school year and Great Aunt Matilda from Tacoma, Washington gets into town and she wants to surprise little Johnny by picking him up from preschool and she's not on the list. That's okay. Give me a call, shoot me an email, let us know, let the teacher know that they're going to be picking him up. I need the first and last name and a contact number, and we can add it to their list. Not a big deal. But if you forget to call, which sometimes happens, what we'll do is we will take Johnny and say, wow, Aunt Matilda, you're not on the list. And we're going to have to take Johnny to see Mrs. Bowman, where we know he's safe. And then I will keep him until I can get a hold of you to verify verbally that it's okay for her to pick him up. Also, please tell them if we ask to see their ID to understand that we're doing that just because we want to keep your children safe, so not to be offended. The next part is this is the blank in the front is where you just do your initials. And then the blank here that I've got highlighted, that's the name of our preschool. And you can just abbreviate it FCOG because it's pretty long. And this just gives me permission to call 911 and seek emergency medical attention for your child, which I would do. And I would call Lakeland, and they're just right across the street. So, and then just sign and date. That's it. If you make a mistake, you'll get it back. So that's okay. All righty. Next, we are almost done. The next thing I need to talk to you about is we're doing our back to school a little bit different this year. We decided that it was really important that we let our parents be able to actually experience some classroom time with the children. And so we've separated our parent night, our parent orientation from the children's classroom visitation, and I think it's going to be good for everybody. So what we're going to do, and all this information is in your orange folder, but the Wednesday night following Labor Day, it will always be that Wednesday evening following Labor Day from 7 to 8 p.m., I'll be meeting with the parents. And that's just going to be a parent night for you and me, and to come and at that time, if you haven't filled out your forms, or even if you have and you want to turn everything in, just bring it that night. You can turn everything in and you're good to go. Or maybe you've got everything filled in, but you've got a couple questions. Come on out and ask me the questions, and that's just going to be a Q&A night for us to go over questions you have, make sure all the paperwork's accurate, and then we'll do a little tour of the school. So that's just an evening set aside for the adults. It'll be in the fellowship hall, which is the lower level of the church. I'll have signage there for you. The next day, which would be that Thursday, so it's always the Thursday after the Labor Day weekend, we are going to have what we're calling our preschool play date. That's where we want your preschooler and one of you to come in and join the classroom. It'll be a great opportunity for the child to be with their adult in the classroom. You're going to do a meet and greet. You're going to meet the teachers. You're going to explore the classroom. They'll probably play some games, read some stories. I think each teacher's going to do it a little bit differently, but it'll give you a chance to, with your child, to explore and enjoy and experience a little taste of preschool. And a couple of things on that, though, is we've got set aside about a half an hour, just because we found that a half an hour, especially for our little ones, is pretty much maxed out time for them, and because it can be a little bit overwhelming. And our classrooms are really small because they're built for little people. They're not built for adults. So they can get quite cramped, and then in September it can kind of get really warm. So we're going to ask that you only have one adult accompany your child. Otherwise, the classrooms are going to get way too crowded, and they're not going to be able to really experience circle time and different things like that. So sorry that I can't accommodate more than one parent. We don't want any siblings that come either, because we want it to be a special time for your child. The focus is on your child and meeting their teacher and their classmates and seeing their classroom for the first time. So that's that time set aside. In your preschool play date invitation, it has your exact time when your classroom will be open for your specific class. If you've got any last minute paperwork or tuition, that's also the time you can turn it in. You can turn it in to me before you go to your class. I'll have tables set up in the Life Center. Come up the green awning entrance, and I'll have signage there, and you can come up and you can turn in any of your last minute paperwork and tuition to me prior to going to your preschool play date, and then you'll be all set. And then regular school starts that next week. So we're really excited about this change. It's going to be our first time, so we're fingers crossed that it's all going to go well, and I'm sure it will. And we really appreciate any feedback you have for us in that. So okay, well, that's it. This is a wrap for us. And on the last page there, you'll see a picture of our staff, and it's a really dedicated staff that really care about your children and love them. And we've grown to really care about our families and love them too. So we're very excited to have you a part of our preschool family. Make sure that if you have any questions or concerns, please call me or email me, and I'd be happy to sit down with you and reassure you or answer any questions that you have. Also, you will receive a letter. Right now, I'm thinking the letters will probably go out around August 15th or 16th, and then that letter will be a confirmation for your enrollment, but it also will remind you of all of our important dates and the paperwork that needs to come in. So in that letter, it'll tell you which classroom your child is at, in when their preschool play date is. It'll give you information about our parent night, all of those things. And so if at the end of August you haven't received that yet, notify our office. But you should be looking for that probably that third week of August. And yeah. So look at our website there, download any forms that you may have. You can turn in your orange folder to me anytime. So if you get it done over the summer, I'm kind of in and out over the summer, but if you get it done and want to drop it off, that's perfect, and we'll take it anytime. So welcome to preschool.